this video we will discuss integers and exponents. If you don't have a calculator handy to type these in, that's okay, or if you don't know how to type these in on your calculator just yet, that is okay as well. I will share with you the answers so that you can help to identify any patterns here. So, -5 to the second power is 25. -5 to the third power is -125. -3 to the fourth power is a +81. And -3 to the fifth power is -243. What patterns do you see here? Hopefully you can recognize that the two problems with the even exponent are positive and the two with the odd exponent are negative. Hopefully you recall from our discussion the other day that when we multiply an even number of negative numbers, we will be able to cancel out all of the negatives to get a positive answer. And if you have an odd number of negative numbers, that answer will be negative. Let's take a look at what your calculator did to get those answers. -3 to the fourth power is -3 4 times. As we discussed the other day, if you can group the negatives into pairs of 2, those are going to cancel out to some positives. And when we have a positive times a positive, we know our answer will stay positive. -3 to the fifth power is going to have that one odd negative left out, which will make our answer negative. So when you're calculating exponents, when there's a negative number at the base, this is what we call the base number. If there's an even exponent, you're going to get a positive answer. And if there's an odd exponent, you're going to get a negative answer. This should help you when you're solving problems with these exponents. Before we move on, let's just test our knowledge based on what we just discussed. This would be positive. This answer would be negative. The next answer would also be negative. Again, negative. Positive. And negative. Now, the current chapter we are on, we are not using calculators. But eventually we will be allowed to use calculators, and this is very, very important for when we start using our calculators again, especially with exponents. So we talked about this a few days ago. We also are going to apply this with exponents as well. This is when it is actually very, very important. Anytime you're replacing a variable into a problem with a negative number, we are going to make sure it is inside of parentheses. We are also going to keep all of our negative numbers inside of parentheses unless it's the very first one in the problem. That way we don't mistake them as minus signs. So we need to not only be careful that we're following the order of operations here, but more importantly that we know and put the parentheses in the appropriate locations. So for order of operations, we're going to start with our parentheses. Since this is a negative number, we must keep it in parentheses. If you don't, and you were typing this into a calculator, you would get a different answer without parentheses than you would with parentheses. The calculator reads that as two different things. So we need to make sure we keep the negative number in parentheses. Notice just the -2 is in parentheses and the 3 is outside. That is important. Next, we're going to do our exponents. Now, -2 to the third power is -8. Since it's a negative number, I'm going to keep it in parentheses. remember this right here is multiplication, so I'm going to do that next. And then lastly, I will add 9 plus negative 16. Let's try another example. This one requires that I plug in a value for x myself. And here is where we need to insert our own parentheses that weren't there before. So we need to be very, very careful that we are just putting the parentheses around the -1, not the 4, just the negative number itself. So the -1 with the 4 outside, and then the original parentheses with the 2 outside. Now we're going to do our parentheses first, and in our parentheses we're going to do our exponent first. -1 to the 4th power should be a +1. Close that parenthesis and put the 2 after. Again, if you were to type this whole problem into your calculator and you did not put these parentheses here, your calculator would give you a different answer other than a 1 here. Now we're going to finish our parentheses. Since this is a +2, if you wanted to get rid of the parentheses here and change this to times 2 to the 2nd power, you are allowed to do that. That would be okay because it's a positive number. That would not mess up on if we were using a calculator. Either way, we're going to do 2 to the 2nd power next, which is 4. And then 5 times 4 next, which is 20. And then lastly, final answer of -13. Here are some for you to try on your whiteboard. If you can't get that answer, try it again or see me for help.